So Ben Shapiro's got to take on data centers. He's decided to be incredibly unpopular again. Let's see if that worked. Elliot, what do you got?
Oh, let's see here. Thank you, Cenk. Nailed it. Yeah, so Ben Shapiro is once again in hot water with his own audience after putting out a video in which he claims opposition to data centers is actually all part of an overt op on the part of Russia and China to destroy the US economy. Take a look.
There is a reason why China and Russia are trying to destroy the sort of data center movement in the United States. They're trying to destroy the economy of the United States. This is an overt op.
And his audience took that personally. Here are some of the video's top comments. Time for Daily Wire to send out investigative reporters to actual data centers and interview the people who live near them. Another commenter wrote, is this Ben Shapiro volunteering to have data centers right next to all his own properties? And my personal favorite, damn, that's a bad take. So short, to the point, really great stuff. But also bad takes can often be bipartisan. An analysis that was published in The Guardian yesterday suggested that swing state Democratic leaders might be putting their midterm prospects in jeopardy as they continue to cozy up to our AI overlords. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer angered her own constituents after appearing last month alongside Sam Altman to celebrate the construction of a $16 billion data center. One former supporter of Gretchen Whitmer said, I felt just rage and sadness for like a month. It made me sick just thinking about it. I'm extremely angry watching her essentially throw us under the bus casually. And she is evidently not alone. A recent Ipsos poll shows that both Republicans and Democrats oppose the construction of new data centers in the US. Despite this, Democratic leadership does not seem to be getting the ChatGPT written message. There are, however, exceptions. For example, Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib called Whitmer's position disgusting, and Senate hopeful Abdul El-Sayed is calling for part public ownership of data centers. El-Sayed appears to be one of the few Democrats in Michigan to fully appreciate the anger data centers have fueled in voters. So it seems like this should be a layup. It should be a no-brainer. It's bipartisan, and yet Democratic leadership seems to be dropping the ball more often than not. Cenk, your thoughts?
No, really? Democratic leadership going with the money instead of their voters?
Shocking.
That's gotta be the first. Breaking news. Okay, so when they don't do that, we'll do breaking news for you guys. So look, this is not a hard mystery to solve. Why are they going with the deeply, deeply unpopular data centers? Because they got millions in campaign contributions to do so? Look guys, when we talk about Israel, for example, they go, oh, this is so conspiratorial. Are you saying that people supporting Israel are secretly funneling money to our politicians? No, I'm not saying that because it's not secret. They do it openly. They go, here's hundreds of millions of dollars, now do exactly what Israel orders you. They literally have a pledge that says you have to support Israel unconditionally. Now, what I want to ask you is, you think Israel's the only one doing that? We basically legalized bribery. Everyone's doing that. So Big Pharma does it on an even bigger scale. Big Oil gets even bigger subsidies and robs us even more. Real quick, let's talk about something that holds way too many businesses back. You've got a great idea, you've got momentum, but you're stuck because you don't have the right person to execute on it. And hiring, full-time recruiting takes weeks you don't have. Here's a tip, you don't have to do it all yourself. Upwork is a one-stop platform to find, hire, and pay expert freelancers across web and software development, data and analytics, marketing, business operations, and more. Upwork helps grow your business by giving you fast access to specialized talent across more than 125 categories, so you can fill skill gaps, launch projects faster, and scale support up or down without committing to full-time headcount. You can browse profiles, review past work, and get help scoping the role so you can hire with confidence and get started quickly. With Business Plus, you can access the top 1% of talent on Upwork, and with AI-powered shortlisting, you'll get matched to the right freelancer in under 6 hours. No endless searching required. Upwork also cuts down operational hassle by handling things like contracts and payments in one place, so you can spend more time running the business. Thousands of growing businesses already trust Upwork to hire flexible, high-quality freelance talent for everything from one-off projects to ongoing support. It's free to sign up, and posting a job is easy. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's Upwork.com to connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. That's UPWORK.com. Upwork.com. And then when the data centers came in, there's billions on the line. You think they're not going to grease the politicians? And you think the Democrats are above it? Corporate Democrats, establishment Democrats? No, you got to be like a cable news zombie to believe that like, oh no, they must have a really good reason for the data supporting the data centers. No, it's the money, Lebowski. It's always the money and the corruption. So what's interesting about it, Elliot, is that again, we've come to a point now, this is on the war, on Israel, on data centers, on corruption. Now, this is a lot of things where the right and the left have come together going, I hate it, I don't want it. Let's do something about it.
Yeah, and in that Guardian piece, I mean, the writer was mentioning that this might have tanked Whitmer's presidential hopes as well. Like this is having a horrible effect. I understand if there's stuff behind the scenes going on where they're absolutely taking money from their donors and there's nefarious things happening, but the fact that they're just getting up and just owning it and almost bragging about it in front of their constituents who have made it abundantly clear that they do not want these things, absolutely blows my mind.
Yeah, so look, I want to come back to what Shapiro said, but what's your take on why they hate the data center so much?
So data centers, my understanding is they're sold to communities under the pretense that it's going to drive up employment. It doesn't. Whatever employment it does drive up is temporary. There's no one actually in the data centers except for like transient jobs or your kind of sanitation workers basically. So then it kind of bottoms out. Then it drives up energy prices. It's noise pollution. I think they're ugly to look at for a lot of people. And I think people feel like they don't have a say in their communities. And for a lot of people, I think politics is a very abstract thing, but data centers are something that are meeting people right directly in front of their faces, and it's making them go, yeah, no, we don't want this.
And they use up an enormous amount of water. But I think the number one thing that started this whole revolt against the data centers was they started charging the community for their costs.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants to pay for a data center's cost? All of a sudden your utility bills and your electric bills are so much higher and you're like, what the hell happened? And they're like, oh, a data center happened and corruption happened, so now you have to pay their bills. Look, what the hell am I paying their bills for, right? And so usually they're more subtle about transferring wealth from us to them, to the donor class. But in this case, they're literally reaching into your pocket with the electric bill and stealing your money every single month. And so that's why there's such a fury, and that's why when they do the normal propaganda, and I'll get to Shapiro's propaganda in a second, but like data centers are your friend. They are going to give you jobs. Corporations are so patriotic. They're human beings who love you. People are like, yeah, bro, he just stole from me. And he did it last month, he did it this month, and he's gonna do it next month. I don't want him to keep stealing from me. So don't tell me that this guy, this corporation is my friend, okay? I'm not buying it because he's literally robbing me every month and I don't care if I'm a Democrat or Republican, right? So now to Shapiro's propaganda. He's like, China and Russia have a secret conspiracy to infect our local politics in America. And you should be really worried about the foreign governments infiltrating our government. Hey, Ben, do you think Israel might also be infiltrating to affect our local elections? Anti-Semite, Jew hater. Wait a minute. So China and Russia are obviously doing it when in fact, in reality, people are just pissed that they have higher utility bills, right? China and Russia didn't need to make them angry about their electric bill. The bill did it on its own, right? But that's your theory, that they wouldn't have been angry. They would have loved to pay more for the data center costs if only the meddling China and Russia hadn't gotten involved. But on Israel, when the Israeli lobby pours in hundreds of millions of dollars to 94% of Congress, an outrageous conspiracy that foreign nations might be interfering in our politics? Well, you have to be a lunatic to believe that.
Yeah, I also think it betrays a total lack of understanding about your own audience. Like, these are real people living real lives, and Ben Shapiro just comes off, I think, a little disconnected when he's going like, okay, let's all motivate ourselves around the idea of the AI arms race, as if normal people have any stake in the AI industry. The people who are going to profit from it are going to be the same 5 people who own all of these companies. So I like El Sayed's idea of like some kind of part ownership or part public ownership, so the communities can actually be benefiting from these data centers rather than just the same 6 people.
And so if you're wondering, look, Shapiro seems like he's doing the same thing as the politicians, like purposely sabotaging himself. Like he's driving away all of his viewers, right? Like Whitmer is driving away her voters, and she's a Democrat, and then tons of Republican governors are doing the same exact thing, Republican congressmen. So why are they punching themselves in the face? Because they're getting paid to. That's why I solved the mystery for you, right? So Shapiro could get money from the audience, but we know how hard it is to survive in the digital media, just relying on the normal programmatic ad rates, et cetera. Even if you have a huge audience like we do, it's not easy, right? That's a very, very hard thing to build up a big enough audience, given $5-10 at a time to be able to sustain yourself. That's not Shapiro's model. Shapiro's model is go to super wealthy people and say, I will do propaganda for you. And by the way, it did not start on Israel. So Shapiro, of course, has a natural, affinity for Israel. Could there also be donors to Daily Wire or funders, investors to Daily Wire who have the same interest? Very, very likely. But what we do know for sure is that one of the first, I think it was around 20 million, don't quote me on that, but a huge amount of money came from these 2 brothers out in Texas who were fracking giants. So that's why when Shapiro's always telling you drill baby drill and how oil and gas are great and climate change is non-existent and you shouldn't do anything to save the planet, he was literally paid to say that. By the way, if you're on the right and you didn't know that, a lot of your right-wing shows have been paid to tell you that climate change isn't real because they were paid by the oil and gas companies. So, and we know, for example, Dennis Prager got $23 million a year free, not as an investment, but here, do propaganda for us. And the 2 sets of people that do that all the time are foreign governments. We saw Russia did it with a couple of influencers a little while back. That's the thing that got Dave Rubin and Tim Pool and Benny Johnson in trouble. And we obviously know that Israel does it on a mega level. They've got a $700 million propaganda budget to do it. Yesterday on the show, we covered how Trump's former advisor has now become a foreign agent for Israel and has doled out millions, tens of millions of dollars to influencers across the country, right? So there's that pocket of money, the foreign government money, but the much larger pocket is the corporate money. So whether it's oil, big drug companies, or data centers. And so if you're wondering why they're driving away their audience, they were supposed to, trick as many people as they can with that propaganda. That's what they were paid for. So if they stop doing that to try to get audience, they'll lose all their money. And then they'll be out of business immediately. So that's how that game is played. And look, final thing on this, Elliot, is that it looks like, I have a saying, I don't know if I came up with it, or I got stuck in my head from something else I read, but the internet is gonna catch you, right? And so it catches everyone. And the politicians starting to get caught. Israel got caught, right? These neocons got caught. And so now guys like Ben Shapiro are getting caught. So to me, this is a much healthier media ecosystem where the audience is moving around trying to find honest actors, right? And unbiased people, and they're leaving the dishonest shows in droves than the old system of mainstream media where everybody was stuck on these 3 channels with their conveyor belt of industrial propaganda in a couple of different directions, but all converging around corporate power, foreign government power, et cetera. So is the internet catching these guys and a much healthier ecosystem?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, in the propaganda that they've been doing, especially around climate change, you can read about in Merchants of Doubt. But like, they took some of the same people from the the tobacco industry, which got sued in the middle of the 20th century for doing a massive amount of propaganda. And the way they do it is they don't overtly say it's not true. They spread doubt in different ways. So it's either not man-made or it's gonna. There's nothing we can do about it economically. But they switch it around constantly depending on what's most effective with their viewers. But hopefully, that's going to come to an end. Thanks to the internet and this new ecosystem. So
yeah, they used to manufacture consent, and part of the way they did that was manufacturing doubt about real problems you have, and to confuse you. But now manufacturing consent has become a lot harder now that we have access to a lot of different shows and a lot of different information. It's much harder to lie to you guys, which we love, because we built the Young Turks on actually delivering you the truth to the best of our ability. So this is a media ecosystem that I can't get enough of. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.